Welcome to Oscar Wilde. This is our 5th edition of Aura and Shannon's excellent Oscar adventure. And we saw The Grand Hotel, which is the first film that Joan Crawford, a film in her younger years, let's just put it that way.
Close to her first film.
Right. Greta Garbo, John Barrymore, and Lionel Barrymore. Yes, they are relatives of Drew Barrymore. And this one won Best Outstanding Picture for the 5th Academy Awards in 1933. I always keep on forgetting. And it was interesting because the film was about, are we going straight into...
Go straight into the synopsis.
Okay, we're going straight into the synopsis. So the film is about a hotel and the people in it. Not only the people that come to stay at the hotel, but also the people that work at the hotel. And the key is that the hotel stays the same. But the people in it change the story, each time they move in and out. So the primary characters are the down and out, in her twilight ballerina, famous ballerina, Greta Garbo. And she's feeling her age and that her audience doesn't love her like they used to. And then the Baron, who squandered all his money and now is trying to live his life through petty thievery in the hotel and card games, but is still a very nice man. So that's one set of people. And then you have the famous businessman, the general whatever, something like that, who has a big business deal that he's trying to save, and he's at the hotel to try and do that. Do business, and he brings on a stenographer to help him with all of the paperwork, and that's Joan Crawford, who is a budding starlet, I guess, wannabe starlet, wannabe, and he likes her for more than her stenographing. He likes her legs too, and her big eyes, and she knows it. So there's that.
Never saw that get in a movie after that.
And then there's the dying accountant who has not long to live, so he wants to live lavishly for the last few weeks of his life. And he integrates himself into those other relationships, with a relationship with the Baron, a friendship with the Baron, and a friendship with the stenographer, and a hate of the general businessman because that's his boss.
Former boss, I think.
Former boss to be.
Former boss to be.
Okay. So those are the key visitors. And then we have the people that work there. The chief bellhop his wife is having a baby, and it's so strange because he's just calling to see where she is and how she's doing at the hotel, at the hospital. He's not there with her, which is very typical for that
very
era.
30s.
Like
and 40s,
and
50s, and 60s, and maybe some 70s.
And then the doctor, who was a World War I, had I guess
probably looked like burns or something like that on one side of his face.
Yeah, so he was injured, but he is a permanent resident of the hotel. So lots of stuff going on, but. The ballerina, she wants to end her life, and the Baron flies in. Of course, he was originally going to steal her pearls. Yeah. But he flies in, and he saves her, and they have a very romantic evening, and then the general wants to do different things with the stenographer, and she really doesn't want that, but she's going to let it happen, and he's trying to make this business work, and the bottom line is that the Baron goes into the general's room to steal something to make some money so he can run off with the ballerina after they leave, and gets caught, and the general kills him with the telephone, which is funny because we never see his dead body at all. All we see are visual gasps and oh my gods. And so at the end, the ballerina runs off. The Baron's dead. She doesn't know. She thinks she's meeting him at the train. They're gone. And the next thing we know is the general's being arrested because he killed the Baron, and he runs off. He leaves with the policeman. They're gone. And then the next thing you know, the stenographer, feels, lost, and so does the man that's about to die. And they decide that she decides that she's going to attach herself to him in a very kind way and try and help him find a cure. And off they go. So they're all gone.
That about sums it up.
Right. And that's the end of that story. Yeah.
There's so many classic themes that get explored in movie after movie and show after show in this, because you have the classic businessman that has all the power and all the money, and of course he wants the beautiful young lady, in this case Joan Crawford, and so he's going to exchange some of the money, and in exchange it's implied that she sleeps with him. They don't actually show anything, but the implication is there.
Yes, especially because they're staying in the same room now.
Right, which is, we're pre-code still. I think we have one more movie after this before we go to the Hays Code, which really shuts down everything. So that's a classic theme there. You have the really nerdy, almost whiny worker that he knows he's going to die, and all of a sudden he realizes he better start living life. You have the Baron, who is the thief but has maybe the heart of gold, because he has a chance to take Lionel Barrymore, the person who's dying's money at the end. All that Lionel Barrymore has left, but he chooses not to, so there's some redemption there. Of course, his payback is getting killed by General Pershing. You have Joan Crawford's first role. She
young role. It's
well,
a young role.
young
Young
role.
role.
She looks really young. It could be the second or the third. But all I can think of when I'm watching Joan Crawford is "Here Comes Mommy Dearest." That's the first thing that comes into mind. We see, and she's lovely and she's nice.
And she's got the big beautiful
she's
eyes.
Big beautiful eyes, and she But all I can think of is Mommy Dearest.
Right, and if you're too young to know what Mommy Dearest about, apparently she was very abusive to her kids in real life. And so there was a movie made of her later in life. Okay, so maybe we'll get to that later in life.
What I really didn't buy was the relationship or the dynamic between the Baron, John Barrymore, and Greta Garbo's character, the ballerina. Supposedly he's crazy in love with her, and she's crazy in love with him, but there's only like these one or two scenes, and there didn't seem to be a big connection for me between the two of them.
Right. Yeah, well, she was very narcissistic. She was very self-absorbed.
Oh, the line. Tell me about the line, "I want to be alone."
Oh, yeah. So, I guess we're going straight into the little snippets. So she says a line a couple times, I just want to be alone. I want to be alone. And ironically enough, that was when she felt like she was going to end her life because nobody loved her anymore. But that was one of the 100 most influential lines in film history. So, it's interesting because this film won Outstanding Picture, but not for no awards or nominations for acting, directing, anything else like that, cinematography, which actually was pretty good, and we should talk about that in a sec. So it was the only film also to ever win just one nomination and one for one award, nothing else. And I think a lot of that had to do with the circularity of life. The front desk was circular, and that never was the case before in a theater. I don't know why. And then all of the movement around it was circular, and then the entryway to the hotel was circular, and all of the relationships were circular. And the doctor in the beginning of the movie that lives there says, so much happens, but nothing happens. And then at the end, everybody leaves, and he said, so much happens, but nothing happens. Essentially, the hotel stays the same. The people in the hotel stay the same, but people come in and out. Also, John and Lionel Barrymore is the only film that they actually did together as brothers. And then John was a very tragic guy. He was horrible alcoholic, and he died of alcoholism in his 50s. He was so he didn't live a long life. Very tragic. And he was very beloved when he was at the height of his career because he was a good-looking guy for that era. not my kind of guy. So, historical context, anything that you want to mention on
Well,
that?
I mean, it's still very stereotypical as far as the roles that women play. You have Joan Crawford, and all she can really do in life to get ahead is to sleep with somebody who has a lot of money. She's not thrilled about that.
Right.
You do have Greta Garbo's character, and she's a ballerina, but she may have been a star at once, and she may have had some power at once, but all we see now is she's really on the edge of insanity. I mean, she's very aloof. She's in and out of being, not insane necessarily, but she has a lot of personality disorders.
Yeah, she has.
I think you see that.
Personality disorders. You're right. So anyway, would we see the movie again, or would we recommend the movie only for some of the symbolisms and maybe to see Greta Garbo and Joan Crawford, because this is the first time we'd seen anybody really
I think that was
famous.
probably the big excitement
No
because
names, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie with Greta Garbo in it.
Yeah.
Never one with the Barrymore brothers in it. Joan Crawford, maybe, but none that I can remember. But these are iconic names that you remember, or you hear about, or you've heard about. Well, at least our generation has heard about. I'm not sure about our kids' generation. But they were like the first crop of big stars, and this is one of the first movies that had such a huge flux of star power. I mean, they just took all the big names in Hollywood and they put them into one movie.
But not a good movie. I mean,
no, it was just mediocre.
we really struggled through the movie. I think we had to buy it because you have 48 hours, and
we
didn't make the 48 hours.
Nice to get through it.
But there is a lot of meaning around it. So I guess only if you want to see something for those reasons. Otherwise, we would say
it was probably a better play. It was
Skip it.
based on a play.
Yeah.
And it probably was a better play, like so many movies that are derived from plays.
well,
The plays
anyway.
usually
So, but our next film is. I'm having a 50s moment. What was our next film again?
Morning Glory.
Yes, Morning
With the
Glory.
very, very young. Actually, and this time we can unequivocally say this is Katharine Hepburn's first film.
Yeah, and so this one is going to be really interesting. And I think after that one is when we're going to take a break because these are all
Pre-code.
Right, pre-code, what he keeps on calling pre-code, before they really shut down any sexual or violent innuendo in a film for a period of time. So
Like
all the exciting
decades.
stuff is going away.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. And so it's going to be interesting to compare and contrast, these first 5 or 6 movies with the next 5 or 6 movies.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's going to be really scandalous until 1939 and the end of Gone with the Wind when, Rhett Butler says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, which was just scandalous.
So anyway,
But
we will see you next time.